Welcome to Passion for Books. My name is Kim. Today I'm bringing you my mid-month check-in of how I'm doing on my Creeptober TBR list. So I have 3 physical books here as well as others that I'll put up on the screen to show you which books I have that I no longer either have them with me because I've returned them or they were ebooks to begin with. Alright, so first starting off with this is actually an edition that I did finish. It's Zombie. I did a whole review on this book that I will link up above and give you all my thoughts and opinions about that if you're interested. Just to let you know, highlight, I did not care for this book. So if you want to know why I did not care for this book, go check out the card above, and I'll also link it down below if you're interested in knowing my opinions about that book. Okay. The second book was from my original, I think 8 or 9 books that I had. I don't remember off the top of my head, but this is The Drowning by Rachel Ward. I was so thankful that I did go back and give this book a second chance because I'd gotten it during the summertime, started reading it, put it down about 12 to 15 pages in. It was just not the right time for me in this book at that time. So I decided to put it in with my Creeptober list of books to read, and I absolutely did enjoy this book, and I can't rave about it enough. There were some little glitches here or there, but overall I did really enjoy this book. If you would be interested in me doing an individual review on this book, leave me some links down, comments down below, not links up. Comments down below if you want me to go in more in depth. But I did enjoy this book, and I was very thankful that I did give it a second chance. So, book number 2. The third book that I read and completed so far this month is The Stars Never Rise by Rachel Vincent. I love this book. I wasn't sure. I know when I first started watching BookTube earlier this year that it was kind of hyped up a little bit, but I still didn't know a ton about it, and it fits so well into this this month's worth of books. Has demons in it, possessions in it, survival against it, and all of that type of thing. Love, love, love this book. I want to next month get the second book in this. I don't know if it's just a duology. Leave me comments down below as you hear Jester walking through. Comment down below if this is just a duology or if it's an actual series, because I'm definitely interested in at least reading the second book. And if there are more, if the second book is equally as good as this one, then I would love that as well. Okay, so that is my third and final physical book that I have read so far. So 3 books in 2.5 weeks, I think. It's not too bad for me. The 4th book that I read was actually the start of another series, which is Rotten Ruin by Jonathan Mayberry. Love that book. It is a zombie book, and zombies are not usually the type of thing that I go for. I've tried watching The Walking Dead, and I know they have graphic novels. I'm not really a graphic novel person, so I haven't really wanted to pick those up. But I decided, I asked my media clerk, because she reads a lot of books that we have in our library, and I asked her what's some good creepy books, and the first thing that she popped off was Rotten Ruin in that series. I read the first book, and with this type of zombie book, it is more family relationships and how people interact with each other that drove that story. Yes, zombies are a part of it, but it is not gruesome and horrific zombie-like this book is. But it's the relationships and the stories and how they overcome their differences. So I love that series, and today that I'm filming this, which is Wednesday the 16th of October, I got the second book, so I can't wait to start reading on it, and I might, if I'm lucky, get through it. And I do have another individual review on it. So I'll link it up above in the cards, as well as link it down below in the description if you want to check out my overall thoughts and opinions on that book as well. So The classic book that is a rollover from last month, we were reading The Hobbit. It was with my caravan group for the classic literature that I'm wanting to explore more of. We finally finished it. So The Hobbit, it was a good read. I enjoyed it more listening to it than I think reading it on its own. But overall, I like that book. A lot of the differences from the production versus the written work, I will say that. A lot of new characters were added in. That was a major difference. And they added female characters in, which in the actual Hobbit itself, there are no female characters at all through the whole adventure. So that is the next book. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 books total so far. An audiobook that I did start and finish this month was Spider Game by Christine Feehan. I will try to find a non-risque cover to show you guys. If not, I won't be able to post it because it was a little bit more provocative than I was expecting, especially for her, because hers are not normally like that. But it was a pretty risque cover, so I may not be able to do it. But I did finish that one via audio. And then I've gotten to start my most anticipated book, The Archangel's War by Nalini Singh. I'm finally able to get into it. Oh, and it's so good. Oh my gosh. So good. So the wait has definitely been worth it so far of what I've been able to listen to. I've only had it for a couple of days now. So yes. So 2 books that were on my original list, The Fallen by Lauren Kate and The Shadow Falls Next Chapter by Cece Hunter. I did DNF those 2 books, and with my add-ons I don't feel too bad because I have replaced them with other things. The Zombie was one. The Haunting of Hill House is another book that I've done, and I think there's a 3rd book that I've added into it, and then now I'm adding on the 2nd book, the Rotten Ruins series. So I don't feel bad that I did end up DNFing 2 books. The Fallen, as I was reading it, it starts hitting on the things that I don't particularly like in young adult, teenagers. And I actually had, as I was reading it, it was triggering it to say, yes, I have read this book previously, but it was in my late teens, early 20s, when that mindset was more what I was at that time, that my mind was still late teen mindset. So I enjoyed it more then. Now, as years later, I have a more of a mature way of thinking about things and things that I like to actually read about, and it was not a good fit for me. But I remember I did enjoy it, and I think I've read 2 other books out of that series. So I did like it enough then to read on, but I don't think I ever completed the series, or they didn't come out with the other books and I lost interest or forgot about it, something to that effect. The 2nd book that I DNF'd, The Shadow Falls Next Chapter, these are the last 2 books of the series. I did not know that going into it because I asked my media clerk if she knew if there were books previous to it, and she tried to look it up and she couldn't find anything of it. So, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then as I was looking on Goodreads and some other sites, I found that there were 2 other books that come before it. So I'm missing chunks that were being kind of referenced to in the 3rd book, in that bound copy of the 2 stories. So I'm not someone who can just jump into the middle of a series and really enjoy it all the way through, especially if it's one that references to things that have happened previously. Without that knowledge, it doesn't quite make sense, and I'm probably sure I could have muddled through it, but that's just not my preference when it comes to reading. I like to start at the beginning and work my way through. Now, it's different if a series, after you've read a few books and you see that they are standalone books within a series, that's a little bit different. But typically what I like to do is start at the beginning and then work my way through, and then once I'm familiar with the series and I don't want to read all of them in order again, then I can go through and pick and choose which ones I want to read. That's typically only if they're standalone books. Otherwise, it just doesn't flow right, it doesn't make sense, or I may have forgotten things. So it makes it more challenging to try to read them that way. But anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this update. I have actually read quite a bit, so I was really starting to kind of feel a little down. So it's been a rocky month for the first 2.5 weeks of this month. It's already mid-October. It's scary about that. But when I went back, I was like, yes, I've checked off that one, added on that one. So it's actually kind of evening out, and I'm doing really well. I was very, very surprised at how much I'm actually getting read and actually really enjoying this month's reading, because they're different books that I typically don't read throughout the normal year. So I may need to spice up my TBRs and throw in a couple maybe mystery or horror books just to kind of change things up a little bit, so I do continue to enjoy the things that I'm reading, and I'm not just DNFing things because I'm bored with them or I'm not liking them, those types of things. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's mini check-in of what I've gotten done so far this month. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I hope you would consider subscribing if you have not. So make sure you click that notification bell, and until my next video, I hope you have a good one. Bye!